Hey folks, this is BestInSlot, and in tonight's video we're going to take a look at one of the most ambitious mods, if not possibly the most ambitious mod I have ever seen for Jurassic World Evolution. This is the Expedition Charter mod by K.O. Denick. I'm going to link this down below if you want to give it a go for yourselves. That was nearly English, in your own playthroughs. But what it basically does is completely changes the entire dig site system in the game. Now, I will admit, if you go look at it right now, you pause this video, you go open it up, you may find it confusing. I've had to sit here for a solid half an hour, and I've just come to terms with how the system works. So what I'm going to do in this video is A, try to explain how the system works. I'm going to show you what this does, and then B, talk about why it would be a good thing and why it's something you'd want to include in your game in the first place. And whether it is or not, that's okay, but regardless of whether you like the mod, the amount of work in it and how it's so fundamentally changed the game is absolutely bonkers to me. So, Charter Expeditions. The main change really in how it works is, so what you would do in the past, as you go through Jurassic World Evolution, this is challenge mode, so it would be, as you gain stars in challenge mode, you'd unlock new dinosaurs. And once you unlock a dinosaur, you can get that dinosaur up to 100% DNA by grinding away. And if you're anything like me, you always want to release a dinosaur at 100% viability. So what you would do is sit there and send out dig team and dig team and dig team. And you could wait 30 minutes, 40 minutes or something like that to get a single dinosaur to 100% genome. The point of this mod, I believe, is A, give you more access to more dinosaurs earlier, but also to cut out the grinding along the way. And it does it in a really interesting way. So I'm just going to pop out this is my first dinosaur in challenge mode. This is our Nodosaurus. Just because I need to get some money coming in the park, basically. While we chat, there's a lovely Nodosaurus, our big chunky boy. Absolute unit, looking lovely. Lovely stuff. There we go. Let's just, do the basics.
You created a Nodosaurus. The name means knobbed lizard. It's a tough dinosaur. I guess you would be too with that name.
Okay. So how did we get a Nodosaurus? Well, to figure that out, we have to head to the research center. Actually, we're going to head to the expedition center. When you first... Shut up, Cabot.
The expedition center will allow you to send dig teams around the world in search of new dino fossils. DNA can be extracted.
Cabot, I know, I've done it. I have a dinosaur.
Living, breathing dinosaurs. And that's our true lifeblood.
Dude needs to shut up. Right, when you first, unlike usual, when you load in, you'll have a few dig sites. In challenge mode, by default, you will have 0 dig sites. I have 1 because I've already unlocked this. So what you're going to want to do instead is make a research center and go into a whole new section up here called Charters. So let's click that. And as you can see, Charters has been split into all the different continents available. So we're going to look at North America because that's got the most variety, but I'll show you a little something in Asia in a little bit as well. And basically how this works is you research a dig site. So for example, this is my Nodosaurus dig site right here. This is the PA Sandstone member. That's a very strange sentence right there. And this means you've basically researched and negotiated the rights to go and operate in that dig site. So as you progress through the game, you can see the dig sites are locked behind star ratings, 1 star, 2 stars, some of them. There you go, stuff like that. You're going to unlock all these different dig sites, and the dig site will tell you what dinosaur it contains. And as you can see, it says, contains fossils of Nodosaurus, and then there's 8 little crosses, and then more deposits will be found over time. The final yield will be Nodosaurus, and then there's 10 little crosses. Each of those little crosses represents 10% of a genome. So what this basically means is, via the PA Sandstone member at 0 stars in your build, you can make a 80%, you can get enough fossils to make an 80% genome Nodosaurus. And that's why if you look over here, not at that one I hatched, but if we go into our Nodosaurus, it's at 80%, the 8 crosses. And if we hop back into the Expedition Center, I told you it's confusing, you can see there are, the status is requires more Expedition Centers, which means basically we need to progress in our star rating, essentially. So the idea is that we now have that genome, 80%, that's as far as that will possibly go. As we rank up further into the game, then more Nodosaurus genome will become available. So our dig site and our ability to excavate in that dig site will improve over time. And there's many different types of dig sites. I'm going to talk about that, but for regular ones, it's always within 1 or 2 star ratings. So that means at a maximum 2-star rating, we'd be able to get 100% of the Nodosaurus genome. So the dig site would unlock further over time as you progress through your build. So that means it is currently impossible for me to get 100% Nodosaurus. Nodosaurus isn't found anywhere else. I need to get to 2 stars or something to get 100% in my Nodosaurus genome. So that could be a little frustrating because what we're used to is grinding that last 20% or so. But usually that takes bloody ages. And there is a system also in place, and we'll talk about that in a minute, to address that as well. Okay, but before we get into that, there are many different types of dig sites. There's actually 4 types of dig site plus something else. So this is a regular charter. This is just a standard dig site. It contains a lot of genome for a lower tier species, essentially. And you get all the genomes within a couple of stars, as I said. Can sometimes contain trace. Let me just find another one here. Where's a regular? Oh, that's not very helpful. You can see that regular charter, same idea. We also have what's called a starter charter, which I love saying. And this is probably a good one to go for if you are, starting off for the first time. As you can see, that lets you get 80% in Dracorex, Albertosaurus, and Montosaurus, all pretty good starter dinosaurs, and eventually you would be able to unlock 100%. Again, you wouldn't need to research anything, but as your park develops, you would be able to go back to the dig site in the future and get that 100%. Also contains trace fossils. There are rare dinosaurs, which I believe is Spinosaurus, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Troodon, which are harder to unlock, and to gather those rarer dinosaurs, you have to get trace fossils from various different dig sites. A trace fossil will never be above 50% on its own, so that Troodon would not hit 50%, even if I depleted this dig site, because 50% is still what you need to birth a dinosaur. Oh, right. So there's that. The starter chart is good ones to kick things off with. They've got 3 dinosaurs, and again, you would complete the dinosaur dig site very quickly within 1 or 2 stars. There is a longer term investment, however. You got to think of this as an investment. These are expensive, by the way. This was 200 and something. Look at this charter here. That's $2.5 million. That is a lot of money to unlock some dinosaurs. But as you can see, so when you first unlock this, I've not even met the conditions. It will contain 50% Coryphosaurus, 60% Euoplocephalus, 70% Struthiomimus, 60% Styracosaurus, trace fossils of a couple others, but eventually, as it levels up, it would unlock many, many different dinosaurs at a really high genome. So you pay this big initial cost, but you would get tons and tons of dinosaurs from that initial cost, rather than having to level up, rather than having to... Hey, Gabbett. Is he meant to be saying something? Rather than having to wait, a lot of dinosaurs don't unlock in the game until 4 or 5 stars. I think the idea for this is you can basically go for whatever dinosaurs you want, but you'd have to plan your dig sites out better and realise that there's an investment cost up front. So those are expansive. You pay a lot of money, but you get a lot of fossils over a long period of time. There are single species dig sites, again, these are regular ones, but these are also single species. If you really want a Dilophosaurus, get that one and you know you'll 100% the Dilophosaurus. Finally, there's yet another mechanic. And that is down here, and that is the black market. So, you can send your representative to scour underground markets and find fossils for sale. They bring you what fossils they found, and you can purchase them or reject them. They are low quality. They come from any dig site, unlocked or otherwise. So even though I haven't paid the 2.5 million for this expansive charter over 4.5 million for that one, even though I've not paid the 4.5 million for that, by using the black market, which I haven't unlocked yet, you could get Allosaurus or Triosaurus or whatever. And basically, you send out your little it actually doesn't cost you a dig team, so you just send people out to the black market for free. They'll come back with the fossils, and if you want, you can just reject those fossils straight up. You go, I don't want these fossils. These are rubbish fossils. Get me another one, Off you go, Reginald. And Reginald will totter off and get you more fossils. If you want to buy them, they'll be very expensive. If you don't want them at all, it won't cost you anything. So it's basically like shopping at a market, and you're browsing through the black market to find the fossils that you want. And the benefit of that, of course, is, let's say we look at let's say you've unlocked this expansive charter, this only gets your Pentaceratops up to 80%. Now what you would have to do is find another charter to get that over 20% for the Pentaceratops. Maybe you can find a trace fossil somewhere, maybe you can just find another dig site, another dig site with Pentaceratops. But if you didn't want to wait for that, and maybe you're not going to unlock that dig site for a while, whatever, you would instead send out the black market, and hopefully that will fetch you Pentaceratops DNA, because it can come from any dig site, and you'd use that to complete your fossil collection ahead of time, ahead of progression. It gives you that kind of freedom. Right, we're nearly there, folks. Okay, so moving away from that, if we head over to the Hammond Creation Lab, you will see we have our 80% Nodosaurus. And again, if you're like me, you don't really want to pop out a dinosaur at 80%. It's very upsetting. So, every dinosaur now has 2 bonus stress genes, but these aren't actually stress genes. What these are viability genes. There's a better name for them, I'm sure, but I don't remember what it is. Basically, I really can't think of a better name for it. It's just the viability genes. So ignore what they look like. You see they're all bats, and they're all called cardio strength. And what these are viability genes. So if you've got an 80% dinosaur, that's 5%, that's 10%, that's 20%. You can see, look at the viability jumping up and up and up and up and up. So if you imagine this was a 50% dinosaur, which is what you'll get from some dig sites, we go down here, and via this genome, you would get 100% viability on your 50% viability dinosaur. It would come at a cost of stats. Your rating drops and the comfort requirements go up. But the point is, I guess, you can push out a dinosaur with proper lifespan and all that kind of stuff way ahead of time when you'd usually be able to. There's still a benefit to maxing out your dinosaurs because they'll be worth more points, but you'll have access to higher viability dinosaurs earlier on in the game without that really obnoxious grind that you always get for the last 20 or so %. I think it also offers a little bit of excitement when it comes to leveling up. You know, you've got your dig site, you know, I could be really excited to hit 2 stars because I know I'm going to unlock 100% viability for my Nodosaurus. It's an interest. I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't. Like, I'm still... Have you moved? What are you doing? You can't go back in, buddy. I don't know how I feel about it. I really, really don't. It's such a massive departure in so many ways from the default system that it's hard to quantify. I think the main benefit is the lack of grinding. You'd never be able to get a Nodosaurus this early. It was 100% viability. It's a very popular, happy little dinosaur. You know, it doesn't really have any problems. The only problem is the comfort threshold. But in terms of its stats, it's great. It's got decent lifespan. Blah 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 blah. So, yeah, I don't know what to add to that. I don't know how I feel about it. I think it would make a new playthrough quite interesting in a lot of ways. You know. Alright, I could blab on about this for a while. I'm going to try to shut up. But yeah, this is Expedition Charters by Kaio Denick. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll link it down below if you want to give it a go for yourselves. Have a little mess around with it. I just, seeing something this unique and original, I couldn't not highlight it, I suppose. Anyways, hope you've all had a lovely weekend. It's Monday. I will see you lovely folks in the next video. Let me know what you think down below. Do you understand the system? It took a little time for us to get there, but I think we're there. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.